I need the moisture. Like I can't be sucking it out. It's just not cute. Hi you guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video. We're talking about another complexion product, guys. We were talking about the Well People Tinted Moisturizer and the Well People Bio Correct Concealer, and I'm so freaking excited to get into it. Oh my god, my eye is, you know when your eye just like twitches? I'm in a twitchy place right now with my eye, but I'm so excited to get into this review. I did this full face. I sped through this, so you're not gonna have to see me like talk through everything I'm applying. Everything will be down below, but I applied it on camera for you guys, and this is the finished look. And you know what? I look so cute. That's my opinion. That's what it is. I feel like I look real cute. And I'm so excited to get into this video. I'm so like amped to talk about Well People. I've talked about them before on this channel, but mostly for their like brow products. But we're talking about more. And I'm going to continue to talk about them because I love that they're so accessible. They're available at Target. They're available at Ulta, I believe. Credo Beauty, if you have one near you. You know I love Credo Beauty. I love that you can like shop online. Sometimes it's really frustrating that you can only go and purchase something online when you're trying to find your right shade. So it's nice when something is a little bit more available so you can like try and swatch and like see what's cute. So I just kind of want to jump into this video and get started. I will definitely be talking about Well People more on this channel, again, because they're so accessible, and I've always been a fan, and I feel like I haven't talked about them that much on this channel, so that's tides are changing. We're doing it. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this Well People Tinted Moisturizer review and this Well People Bio Concealer review. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So first things first, we have the Well People Tinted Moisturizer. And this is it focusing? Yeah, here we go. This is the Well People Bio Tint SPF 30 Tinted Moisturizer. SPF is important, even if it's just wear SPF on your skin, but products with SPF in them are great too. And then we have this. This is the Well People Bio Correct Concealer. And we're gonna be trying this out today too. I'm really excited. So let's just get into it. So this is the Well People Tinted Moisturizer, as I said before, and the shade I wear in this is the shade 8N. And I'm just gonna squirt it out kind of on the back of my hand so you can see. So this is what it looks like. It's not a very drippy formula. I will say it's very true to like a tinted moisturizer when you're thinking of it. Like you're thinking Laura Mercier, you're thinking like all the tinted moisturizers you've used. This is very, very similar to that in consistency. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna apply it. And I personally really like to apply tinted moisturizer with my fingers. So that's what I'm gonna do on this side. I actually think I'm gonna do that all over the face, and then, no, you know what? I'm gonna go this side with my fingers and then the other side with a brush. Maybe I should look in the mirror, that would be helpful. And just blend this out. I do find that this is a good match for me right now, especially when I'm like applying bronzer and stuff. So then I'm gonna apply the other side with a brush. And I really don't apply a lot. I just want you guys to be able to see it. I really don't apply a lot of this at all. And I have some hyperpigmentation that is healing so well, you guys. I am like blown away. If you haven't seen my skincare video on how I deal with hyperpigmentation, I tell you all about my tips and tricks in there. But my hyperpigmentation, I have some that last for like, I have some that have been there for like 6 years. It's crazy. But my hyperpigmentation lately has been healing crazy fast because of the products I'm using. Okay, so you can kind of see that that is it applied one side with my fingers, one side with the brush. I really don't have a preference on how to apply it. Sometimes I'll apply it with a sponge, sometimes I'll apply it with a brush, sometimes with my fingers. My general preference for most base products is with my fingers because I kind of like the finish more, and then maybe go over it with a sponge to kind of just blend it all in real nice. So as you can see, based off of my hyperpigmentation, it is not full coverage. I would say that it is more light to medium buildable in that way, but I would definitely not call it full coverage, which I actually like. I like when my imperfections shine through. So then next, let's move on to the concealer. So this is the Well People Concealer. The shade I have in this is the shade 11N. I feel like this is a really good shade for me. I always go neutral if I can. I could have gotten the shade 9, but I do like this shade a lot. So I'm gonna apply to the back of my hand. My battery's about to die, which is unfortunate. And this is the shade 11N. I'll just blend that out so you can kind of see. It has a little bit more of a, it's very neutral, which I like. So I'm gonna apply it to my face just with my fingers. Apply it. I'm gonna apply it with my fingers on this side so you can see how it blends out with your fingers. The coverage of this is really nice. And you feel like it's very natural looking. Okay, so that is this side done. You can see concealer is applied. I don't feel like it is super bright. It's more of a tone, like a skin tone color for me, which I do enjoy, especially when I'm going to be going on with a lot of different products. Sometimes I just like something that isn't as brightening. Sometimes I want something super brightening. It really depends. I'm going to go on with my fingers to just place this, and then I'm going to blend this out with a brush on this side. I'm going to take my Ami Collet brush, which is this here, and we're just going to blend it out. Okay, so that is that done. You can see both sides applied. This can definitely be built up and can be pretty full coverage, which I really, really like. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this that I have left and I'm going to pinpoint my hyperpigmentation. Okay, so that is the face done. I feel like the concealer did a decently good job at covering up my dark marks. What I don't love is to over apply, so I do very little bit at a time. I'm okay with imperfection shining through. Like, I think it's perfectly normal to have hyperpigmentation showing, so I don't over apply, but this can definitely fully cover my hyperpigmentation if I want. What I like to do when I cover my hyperpigmentation is go with a lighter colored concealer, and I feel like that's really important, because I feel like if it's like a true to the foundation color, I feel like for whatever reason, at least on me, it doesn't look as great. So once I set my face and all of that, it all like melts in and looks really, really natural. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump in and do the rest of my makeup, fast forward through that. I'm gonna list everything that I use down below. And then we're gonna get into like the full review, compare and contrast to other products in my collection, and let you know where I kind of feel like it stands. All right, you guys, so this is the finished makeup look. Really happy with this. I'm gonna link everything down below. I did a little bit of a flick, freehand drew it without stickies this time. Kind of depends on my mood of the day. It just felt easier today to not use them. And I feel like it turned out pretty good. A little bit of a smoky under eye, not really that smoky. Definitely more of a pink cheek. I'm in studio lights, so it looks a lot less bright, the cheek, than it is in person. It looks a lot more bright in person. Nude lip, loving the, what lipstick is this? I'm gonna link everything down below, but I have been loving the Merit Beauty lipsticks. This is the shade Slip, and I just like, this is so good. Anyways, I digress. Let's get into the review and then let's compare and contrast. So first, let's talk about this. This is the Bio Tint SPF 30 from Well People. Now, again, I'm gonna say my shade, this is the shade 8N. I will say I was really impressed with how they have improved their shade range. All shade range options for the most part can always be improved, and I do hope they expand it more. But what I like is for a tinted moisturizer, I feel like they have a lot of neutrals, and that I love that. We need more neutrals, because you know what, listen, everyone's like, oh, I'm warm and whatever. But in general, sometimes you don't know what olive is going to mean for that brand, or what warm is going to mean for that brand, or golden. And something can be really like orange, or it can be too yellow, or it can be like really pink. And neutral tends to be something that everyone gravitates towards when they're unsure of what it means for that brand. And I think, again, they could always expand. I do think for like the deep shades, they could add a couple more deep shades, but I am impressed with how they've expanded their shade range, because I feel like with their concealer, I remember they had like 3 shades, and I'm like, girl, what? We need more options. So love that. So again, I'm the shade 8N. I feel like this is a really good match for me. And it looks really, really pretty. So for me today, the way that I prep my skin is I am very dehydrated right now. My skin it's like not even dry on the surface. Underneath, it's very dehydrated. And that has been a struggle, because I feel like by the end of the day, I just feel like SpongeBob in that episode where he went into Sandy's little like house and all the moisture was sucked out and he was just dry as a dang bone.
I don't need it. I don't need it. definitely don't need it. I 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 need it!
That's me. That's literally me right now, like just constantly struggling with that. So I prepped with face cream. I did the Ella Luz beauty oil on top. Love that stuff. And it really like hydrated me. So I'm definitely right now, the finish is set my face with a little bit of powder. But for me, it's a little bit more on the dewy side. But in general, I feel like it goes more satin dewy depending on where I am, depending on how dry I am or how much prep I did to my face and what I prepped it with. So I set my face with the Kosas setting powder and I used a brush like this. So it's a fluffier type of brush. Now let's talk about the coverage. So I feel like that this is a light to medium coverage. I feel like you can definitely build it up, but in terms of where my hyperpigmentation is, I mean, you can still see my hyperpigmentation for sure. Nothing's gonna cover it up fully. It's definitely darker and it is a little bit on the dry side. So that I know like when my hyperpigmentation is on the drier side, it's really hard to cover it up. It just is. It really depends on where my hyperpigmentation is, on how easy it is to cover up. And I feel like the concealer and the tinted moisturizer did a really good job in covering it up and making it just kind of look, oh, that might be a freckle or whatever. So really happy with that. So definitely light to medium coverage. Definitely can't get it to full, but I don't think that like tinted moisturizers in general, like you can really get it there, if that makes sense. Like in general, they tend to be more medium to light coverage. So I really enjoy the coverage of this. I really enjoy the finish of this. The way that this wears throughout the day for me is that by the end of the day, when I wash off my face, I still have product on. It doesn't fade like crazy, which I love for something that has SPF in it, but also something that happens to be more dewy. I'll wear this all day and I'll wash off my face and I will see like the tinted moisturizer still on my hands, which I love. Just because, you know, sometimes stuff that is more on the dewy side and it's meant for more like warm months, or tinted moisturizers in general with SPF, I feel like are meant for more, not meant, but they're kind of pushed out for more warm months. They tend to fade a lot quicker, but this one doesn't, which I really enjoy. And I feel like it makes my skin look really healthy and youthful and plumped up without it looking too dewy. And depending on your like skin type, I think you can get a satin or more dewy finish out of this, which is really nice, and I enjoy that a lot. Now let's move on and kind of talk about the concealer. So the concealer is one that you kind of just push out on the back of your hand, as you saw. There's no applicator to that, which I don't mind, but that might not be everyone's favorite. I like to apply it with my fingers. If I don't have, like, I don't want to apply it with my fingers, sometimes I will take like just a small, like, it could even be a eyeshadow brush or something like that, and I apply it with that. I also like to blend it out with the like a brush like this. So this is the Ami Colé concealer brush. Rare Beauty has one like this too. And I feel like someone else has one like this, but this is a really nice concealer brush because of the way that it is kind of shaped. It is more of a kind of, I don't know, it's not flat, and it makes it easy to kind of get in all the nooks and crannies that are under your eyes. What I will say about this is I feel like depending on how much I apply and how much I prep my under eyes, there can be slight creasing. That doesn't really bother me. You know what? I have dehydrated under eyes, stuff creases under my eyes. It just does. And you know, as you get older, you get more lines, and so creasing happens. And I don't like to set my concealer that often. So if I set my concealer, I notice that it doesn't crease. If I don't set my concealer, sometimes I can get creasing. It depends on how I've prepped my face. But I really do enjoy this concealer, and I do like their shade range in this concealer. So again, I have the shade 11N. I probably could have gotten the shade 9 if I wanted something a little bit more brightening, but I like this as something because I can put it on the back of my hand and kind of dip a brush in it to be a little bit more lighter than my skin tone, but not necessarily super brightening, because I like to use something like this to kind of pinpoint my hyperpigmentation with a brush like this. And this is just like a little, this is almost like a little itty mini like lip brush. And I really like this for pinpointing hyperpigmentation specifically, especially in the warmer months where I'm not going to be using as much full coverage stuff. And I like to go with something that's more medium, even sheer to light coverage. Medium is kind of as full coverage as I will go when it's warmer out. Okay, now let's talk about these products comparably to other products that I have in my collection that I feel like kind of measure up. So let's talk about the Well People Tinted Moisturizer versus the Say Beauty Slip Tint. Now, these consistency wise are really similar, which I found really interesting. But I will say, I feel like the Say Beauty has a little bit more coverage, not a lot more coverage, but a little bit more coverage than the Well People Tinted Moisturizer. The Well People Tinted Moisturizer, I feel like can get a little bit more dewy depending on my prep than the Slip Tint, but also can go kind of satin. So I feel like it has the potential to be more, a little bit more dewy than the Say Beauty Slip Tint, but I feel like they're very similar and comparable. And I feel like these two out of the ones I'm talking about today, if you are looking for an alternative or a dupe to the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, these are definitely your best bet options. If you really like that consistency, you really like the way that it's a true cream. In terms of shade range, I feel like they're pretty comparable. Say Beauty expanded their shade range, and I feel like they have some really good options overall and like some good in-betweensies. Because before I had to mix two shades to get a shade that kind of worked. Now there are more options, which is great. I actually really like both of these. These are really good. And the Say Beauty one is an SPF of 35. The tinted moisturizer from Well People is an SPF of 30. So relatively comparable there. And I really think you can't go wrong with either of these. These are both really good. I don't prefer one over the other. I will say I feel like the Well People shade options are, at least for me, a little bit better for my complexion, but I do really enjoy both of these so good. Okay, next let's talk about the Well People Tinted Moisturizer versus the Tower 28 Tinted Sunscreen. Now, although the consistencies are really different, because this is more of a true cream and this is more on the liquid side, I feel like they are pretty comparable in the way that they wear on the face throughout the day. They both have a similar finish. I feel like the dewiness that you get is comparable here. The Tower 28 definitely has more coverage though. So there's that. So the Tower 28 is also an SPF of 30, which is great. The shade range options are really nice with both. I do feel like the Tower 28 has a more extensive shade range, and has a lot for the deeper skin tones. I feel like they have more options. I will say that. Now, I really enjoy the way that both of these wear. I feel like they wear really nicely throughout the day, and they, the coverage is really nice. Although Tower 28 has a little bit more coverage, the Well People has like slightly less coverage. I will say that this is like more medium coverage, whereas this is light to medium coverage. So that's kind of the difference there. I like them both. I don't really have a preference in either. It kind of depends on what I want that day, but I enjoy both of these, and I love that they both have SPF 30 in them. Really good products. Overall, like, so impressed. So now let's move on to the concealer. So this concealer can go full coverage. I would say for me, I can do like a medium. I can even do light depending on how much I apply and how I apply it. So this, again, medium to full coverage. I can definitely, if I like really let it sit for a second, so I apply it. I like just place it, let it sit, go on my merry way, get some coffee, get some tea, live my life, and then I blend it out. I can definitely get like a really good full coverage out of this, without applying a lot. So if I don't do that, I can still get full coverage out of this. I just have to apply a little bit more. I really enjoy this. It's very hydrating. Now, the one concealer that I feel like this, in terms of finish, is the most similar to is this one. Now these two. So I have two concealers. I have the Kosas concealer and I have the Rose Ink concealer. The Kosas concealer has a lot of stuff in it too, but I feel like this, in terms of dry down, is shockingly enough not as hydrating as the Well People one. If I set the Kosas one, I feel like it isn't, like throughout the day, I don't feel like it stays as hydrating. It doesn't get dry or anything, but comparably so, it doesn't stay as hydrating, whereas this one stays super hydrating throughout the day. And I don't feel like at the end of the day, if I set the Well People one, I have like almost like my under eyes feel tight, which is why I don't like to set my under eyes, because my under eyes are on the drier side. So even if it is a super hydrating concealer or not, I don't set my under eyes because I need the moisture. Like I can't be sucking it out. It's just not cute. But with the Kosas one, I feel like by the end of the day, I'm feeling a little bit drier under my eyes if I set it. So that's kind of the difference here, but they both are really, really nice. The Well People has more coverage, like by far way more coverage than the Kosas one, but I really enjoy the Kosas one. Here just kind of depends on preference. Like this has a doe foot applicator, this has no applicator. So there's that. Now I have the Rose Ink Concealer. Now these, although they're very different, this one is super hydrating under the eyes for me, and I don't feel like if I set it, I get tight under my eyes, and that's the same with the Well People. The Well People definitely is a little bit more dewy. I don't have that same dewiness with the Rose Ink. The Rose Ink is more of a whipped consistency. It is a doe foot applicator, and I feel like the coverage is less here. So you can definitely get full coverage, medium full coverage here. This one I would say is more medium plus, depending on how much you apply. But for my under eyes, which are really, really dark, studio lights will never do justice to what my under eyes look like. The Well People does a better job covering them. But like I love them both. I mean, you know, I talk about this all the time. It's like my obsession of life. But this is definitely more full coverage. I really enjoy the Well People Tinted Moisturizer and the Well People Concealer. Just so good, super hydrating. And I feel like if you are someone who has dehydrated skin or someone who feels like no matter what you use under the eyes, you're just feeling really like by the end of the day, like tight and dry and like, ugh, I gotta get this makeup off of me, definitely check out this concealer because for me, so impressed. That is it for my Well People Tinted Moisturizer review and my Well People Bio Concealer review. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Have you used Well People? If you have, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about their extended shade range? Because I love to see that. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.